matchup of the year between the Spartans of Michigan State and the Badgers of Wisconsin. These two teams played in the final regular season game last Sunday. Again, those starting lineups courtesy of T-Mobile with Pritzel, Davison, Iverson, Reavers, and Happ. For the Badgers with Winston, Langford, Bridges, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Nick Ward for Michigan State. Third member of our team is Mike Hall. Let's check in with him now. Good afternoon, Mike.
Good afternoon, Brian. These two teams met just 5 days ago, and in that game, Michigan State's Cassius Winston was on fire. He went 6 of 6 from deep, and that's what he's been doing all year, shooting 56% from three-point land. He shot only 38% last year. I talked to Tom Izzo a few minutes ago on why it's such a better shooter now. He said it's as simple as he's shooting the ball more. He didn't shoot a lot of threes last year. He didn't shoot a lot of threes in high school. He said you combine that with the leadership that he's learned from Tum Tum, and Cassius Winston is one of the biggest reasons MSU's won 12 straight.
All right, Mike, thanks. And John, to his point, this is a team that is very balanced. They have all the holes plugged. They do turn the ball over more than Tom Izzo would like to see, but this is a team that is a legitimate challenger for a Final Four and a possible national championship.
100%. The real challenge today is going to be shooting shots that you don't really get in rhythm. That's what Wisconsin does so well as a defense. They take the rhythm out of the game.
Jackson gets the first touch and scores with the left-handed jump hook.
There's only so much you can do about that. You have two guys on the floor in the post, and Nick Ward and Jaren Jackson Jr., who you probably want to double. You just can't.
Michigan State swept the regular season series with the Badgers. They won 76-61 at the Breslin Center back in January. And then a grind-em-out game just last Sunday. Wisconsin certainly got their attention last Sunday. That was a game Greg Gard felt like Wisconsin could have won had they closed better. They did not. Michigan State got the victory. There's a turnover, a travel, and it'll give the ball back to Wisconsin. And for the Badgers, as we saw yesterday in their win over Maryland, low-scoring affair. They had a 59-54 win. We talked about it yesterday, but it seems to be the others that have to step up. Reavers already scoring the first basket. Those other than Davison and Happ.
You have to get the defense to play honestly. Right? You can't just allow the defense to take Ethan Happ out of the game and everybody gets stagnant. You have to have other guys get going, so at least there's balance on the floor.
Here's Happ working on Ward. Left-handed jump, not there. Michigan State has more blocked shots on Ethan Happ than any other opponent in the Big Ten this year. They have 6 blocks on Ethan Happ alone. That is not something that Happ deals with very often. But a lot of size with the Spartans as Ward bullies his way in, and he's on the board with his first field goal.
That's the guy they're showing that they're going to double. The problem is you have to stick with the double till you get the ball out of his hands. The double came and then vacated, and Nick Ward's able to finish.
Wisconsin is the 9 seed, took down the 8 seed yesterday. Happ had 14.7 rebounds. And Happ, a little scoop is good.
It's interesting. You've got to watch Jaren Jackson on that play. His eyes are on Ethan Happ, but he doesn't commit.
Ward can't connect. Had good position on Happ, cannot finish.
I like the concept for Tom Izzo and the Spartans. Don't commit to Ethan Happ early, but just see how you play. See if you're able to stay out of foul trouble. See if you're able to contain the basketball, force tough shots, and allow Jaren Jackson to play with instinct. Whether he wants to go for a block shot or commit to the double or not, let him play with instinct.
Here's Davison, little pull up. Davison scored 30 against Michigan State last Sunday. 23 of those 30 points coming in the second half. Or rather, Ward gets it deep, and a foul prior to the shot, sealing off Reavers there. You figure Wisconsin's going to need to bring a wave of big bodies. They are banged up at the guard position. No Kobe King, no Dimitri Trice. That has hurt them at the point guard and 2-guard position. But they have some bodies, guys like Charlie Thomas. Might see Alex Illikainen today, Andy Van Vliet. These guys are going to have to give some minutes to match the size of the Spartans.
Well, I would say it's more important to have fresh bigs than big bodies. The fresh bigs have to run back, and it's not just on offense, putting pressure on the offensive end. You have to get back defensively, because right there, Nick Ward outran the defender. He got position, and at that point, you're beat.
Gavin Schilling getting his first minutes of the game. And on the take goes Bridges. A little crossover and a finish with a foul. Miles Bridges, and one.
There's been a lot of criticism on Miles Bridges about how limited his game is. I think he's taken a huge step forward. Last year, we knew about the athleticism, the power, the potential. I think you're seeing the potential come together. You saw a three-point game come together. You saw a mid-range game come together, and there he's putting the ball on the floor, finishing at the rim.
Bridges, a 90% free throw shooter, caps off a three-point possession. That foul belonged to Charlie Thomas, and Happ comes right back in. Thomas sub for Happ. Now Happ's in for Iverson as the Badgers go on offense. Does it help, hurt, or indifferent that Michigan State's last game was against Wisconsin?
I don't think it matters. When you're an elite team, you should go out and beat every opponent. I think that's how this team approaches every single game. It's more about what they need to do, less about the opponent.
Pritzel misses his first opportunity. On the move, Cassius Winston. It's a long rebound. Wisconsin gets back very well. One of the best teams historically through the Bo Ryan and Greg Gard era. Defensive transition. Jackson gets stuck, swatted away by Davison. That'll be Spartans ball.
Look, you're talking about a safe defense, and a safe defense almost gets a bad rap because you say, well, you don't create a lot of turnovers. You don't get a lot of transition baskets from a turnover. Well, they don't give up much. They don't give up second chance opportunities because guys are in position. That is who they are. That's part of their identity, and that's why they've been so successful the last 20 years.
They certainly got the Spartans' attention last Sunday. That was at the Kohl Center. Bridges rises up and misses badly. Happ pulls down the board. Wisconsin 7-11 in conference play, but despite the injuries, they have kind of reestablished their new identity here with the new personnel. Very thin roster, but they've won 5 of their last 7. And they seem to play their best basketball in March, and they've got it going again. Oh, Davidson with a long-range missile for a 3.
And right away, the Michigan State coaching staff jumps up and says, Matt McQuaid, you can't leave that guy. He's going to find a way to impact this game one way, shape, or form. You don't want him to do it from the three-point line.
And on the other end, Davison checks Tum Tum Nairn, his first minutes, and the left-hander delivers. Bridges off to a very good start. He scored 10 points, had 8 rebounds against Wisconsin last Sunday. Scoring's been a little down the last few games, but he's got the firepower to go off at any point. And this is just the kind of stage you might see that. Happ spins off Schilling, left hand, and he's fouled. He'll shoot a pair.
It is just so hard to contain Ethan Happ, and it's going to be difficult if you give this shot up. Brad Davison's been so good, you can't leave him. You got to know where he's at all times. And Miles Bridges, as I said, developing this part of his game. Reason why Michigan State's up 3.
Life go right. And by Valvoline, keeping the world moving since 1866. Great to have you with us here at the Garden. First game of 4 today on BTN. Brian Anderson, John Crispin, and Mike Hall, our reporter, as the Badgers get free throws here from Ethan Happ. We're just underway. Game 1, this quarterfinal matchup between the top seed Michigan State and the 9 seed Wisconsin, who won yesterday. First game of this tournament for Michigan State.
A couple things Wisconsin needs to do. They have to just take away opportunities in transition and trust what they do defensively. Just in terms of forcing Michigan State to execute to win this basketball game, and they're going to have to make perimeter shots. That's just the bottom line. That's when they're at their best.
Langford left wide open. Happ wrestling for the rebound. And here come the Badgers.
One more thing I should say, only one chance for Michigan State every single time. Now, they have to contain that defensive glass.
That's a huge game plan initiative for Greg Gard and the Badgers. Limit the Michigan State offensive rebounds. And that's tough to do. Easier said than done with the height of Michigan State. Shot clock gets deep, and it's Reavers for 3. Comes up short. One and done for Wisconsin. And the dribble handoff. I don't think that was deflected. No, I don't think so. I had one official say it was. Another said it wasn't, and now we'll see who the alpha dog is in this matchup between DJ Carstensen and Bo Borowski.
So you're saying DJ's the alpha, huh?
I'm saying the tall ball guy is going to win out most of the time.
He had a good look at it, and I think he got it right. Well, we'll see. Let's see if he did get it right. Yeah, he got it right.
Hand in there.
Good look at it. DJ Carson, that's what the officials are supposed to
Well,
do.
and DJ's on the opposite side.
Yes.
Bo Borowski's on this side, so that makes sense he wouldn't see that.
Yeah.
It's a good job getting together,
Yeah,
getting
get together.
Right.
I mean, you put the challenge out there. Well, let's see who the big dog is.
Let's see who we know
Well,
who the
it's
alpha
sure not
dog
Bo
is over here
Borowski.
at the announce table.
guy, man. Yeah, you. Or I was going to say Jim Nance. He's sitting over by.
Yeah.
He's got to speak.
Jim has arrived. It's a bad weather day in the Northeast. Those who live here know that, so it's good to see Jim Nance here. He's right next to us. This will be a CBS production beginning tomorrow. We're looking forward to having those guys call Big Ten tournament games once again. There's a foul underneath prior to the shot.
And that's just a reminder of the fact that you got to keep your eyes on the ball and always keep your body on your man. Ethan Happ thought that shot was going up. He started to box out, and then once the pass came, had to just root. You got to be careful. Ethan Happ cannot get in foul trouble.
Right, he just picks up his first. Langford, no, and it's Pritzel with a rebound. So far, Wisconsin's been able to control the defensive glass. Davison coming off 13 points against Maryland. So strong. Iverson loses it out of bounds. Looked like it was poked out from behind. That'll stay in the possession of Wisconsin. Tom Izzo is hopping mad on that Michigan State sideline. I think the Spartans are looking for a travel.
I'd be looking for a travel, but let's see. 1, 2, 3, and he goes up. No, it's just that he did it so slowly. That's the thing. A quick Euro step doesn't look like a travel. A slow one certainly does.
And working on Ward and gets the friendly bounce. So that is one of the best left-handed post moves you're going to see.
It's one of the best post moves, but if you have Ethan Happ trapped on the baseline, you got to keep him there. You can't commit to the fakes. Once again, though, easier said than done.
That's what they used to say about Larry Bird.
Yes.
Don't buy the fakes. Good luck. Here's Goins. Air ball. Happ's got it. He can run a break. It's a good ball handler. And he'll back it out. Wisconsin gets it organized now. All tied at 10. Badgers and Michigan State. These have been familiar opponents in the Big Ten tournament. Little fadeaway, not there. And Bridges able to keep it alive. Michigan State on the move. Winston back on the floor. And Winston so active, and a little reverse is good. Wow. Great action from the point guard, Cassius Winston.
I was a split second away from saying great transition defense. Michigan State had numbers. Wisconsin got back, but keeping the dribble alive is what got them an easy bucket.
Had visions of Steve Nash in his prime right there. Substitutions coming in waves for Wisconsin at the next whistle. Happ, late clock, takes a peek. 4 on the clock. Working on Ward, again with the left. And Ward wrestles down the rebound. It's going to be a fascinating matchup all game. Happ and Ward. And they are swapping some paint right now underneath. Winston buries another one.
And that may not be a transition bucket per se, but that early ball screen is one of the most difficult ball screens to defend. Top of the key, in transition, you got the big man down, fighting in the post for position. You set that quick ball screen to get an opportunity for a look.
Happ again working on Ward, runs into a wall. He's giving up about 30 pounds. And Happ, oh, what a move. Oh, man, Ethan Happ with a little English. It's a pleasure to watch this guy do his work in the paint. Turnover. Up top, looking for the... Oh, my goodness! How about it? Khalil Iverson on the setup from Davison. Woo! Okay.
I didn't even get a chance to say look out because I didn't think it was going to happen.
Ward to the hole. No.
Holy smokes. Can we take a timeout, folks? Someone throw the ball out of bounds so we can see it again. Goodness gracious. What just happened?
He is the most athletic player on the floor. Wisconsin not known for plays like that. Well, that was something special. You will see that one forever. Cue it up. We go to break.
How about it? Yeah, we're going to get a few looks at this. And for the first one, I'm just going to shut up and enjoy. This shouldn't even happen. I mean, that is dunk contest material. Goodness gracious, holy smokes.
Yes, sir. All tied at 14, and we already have a candidate for the best play of this Big Ten tournament. BTN standout presented by Discover. Davison to Khalil Iverson.
A candidate? Talking about a candidate. That's it. You can't top this, especially from this angle. Goodness gracious. Just stop the game.
It's a gutsy pass, first of all. Remember, a Wisconsin team, Iverson's the one guy that can certainly play above the rim, but you're not seeing a lot of flash like that typically with the Badgers. Maybe other than the Sam Decker, Frank Kaminsky era. But that was something, a lid lifter. Davison, a tough shot off the window.
Davison's looking for the foul, and this is where you got to be cautious if you're Wisconsin. That transition runner from the big, but Cassius Winston just couldn't connect. I want to go back to it, though. We talk about the athleticism of Khalil Iverson. I made a mistake earlier. I talked about some of the best dunkers in the league. And you got Tyler Cook and Miles Bridges. I think Josh Reeves is up there. I left out Khalil Iverson. What was I thinking?
Yeah, Bruno Fernando of Maryland. I'll take Iverson in that category.
I'll take that dunk right there.
Alex Ilakanen on the floor for the first time. Thomas, little turnaround there. And Bridges pulls down the rebound. Xavier Tillman getting his first playing time as well for Michigan State. The freshman working in the post with Jaren Jackson, two freshmen in the front court.
This reset is where Michigan State's got to be careful. The reset, he was out. The reset allows this Wisconsin defense to get set. If your transition doesn't flow in the secondary and your secondary doesn't flow into an easy offense, you've got problems against Wisconsin.
Let's check in with Mike Hall. He's got something on Tom Izzo. What do you have, Mike?
Yeah, Brian, in that last huddle, Izzo talked to his team. His main message was, you guys look like you're playing in slow motion. He says, I'm not sure if it's because we haven't played in 5 days or because this is a new event or because they played yesterday and they're fresh. You guys need to play Spartan ball.
Look, he's right, but they also have to pick up the tempo and the pace. They've got to get things going. Look, 4 turnovers against Wisconsin. When you have limited possessions, that's a problem. Just 3 in the last minute 45.
Lean forward, working with Khalil Iverson and Pritzel in the backcourt. Happ and Reavers in the front court for Wisconsin. Happ going into the paint, ball fake, left-hander is good again. He is wearing Michigan State out with the left hand right now.
He was able to do that with Jaren Jackson coming over. He just does such a good job of curating space with his body.
Happ has 9. This is an 8-0 run for Wisconsin. And the Badgers are up 4. McQuaid trying to take Reavers to the hole and a foul. Back to Ethan Happ.
Look, Ethan Happ is so good when he does his work in the post. You have to commit to him. This is the hardest thing. They're not going to allow him to come topside because Jaren Jackson's going to come over. But he just counters, and that's what makes him so good. Very rarely at this level do you win with your first attack. Very rarely do you win with a set play. You win with counters, just like Ethan Happ just scored a basket by countering the defense.
Nate Reavers picks up his second foul there. It was on the floor, so Greg Gard will go back to his bench. Alex Ilakanen is in. Michigan State trying to stop an 8-0 run. First game of this tournament for the Spartans. Got the double bye, courtesy of their top 4 seeds throughout the regular season. Get the double bye to the quarters. Shot clock at 2, Bridges. And McQuaid with a back tap. Oh, hard foul. Lean forward, drops Cassius Winston, and will pick up his first.
Those plays will frustrate you if you're Wisconsin, but you should feel good about it. You should feel good about the fact that your defense in the half court has been terrific. It's the first time they've given up an offensive rebound all game. I think you got to be happy with the effort from Wisconsin. They're dialed in, they understand who they are, and they're doing what they do. It's all you can ask.
Winston to Bridges, dumping inside. Ward had lost the handle. Happ's got to do. Oh, nice move by Ward to get some space.
And Ethan Happ wants to watch that hook, watch the elbow on the turn. It's going to be a physical battle. And I think Nick Ward's going to win the physical battle. Ethan Happ's going to win that skill battle. He's just so good.
As the game continues to get more guard-oriented, we've got a couple of post players in this matchup that are going to be fun to watch. This is already fun to watch. Good energy early here. First game of our quadruple header today on BTN quarterfinal rounds. Iverson feeling it now. Iverson, mid-range jumper after that thrilling dunk.
Ethan Happ kind of set a fake screen. He rolled to the basket, took out both defenders. That was an easy 15-footer for Khalil Iverson.
Iverson with 11 against Maryland, 6 rebounds. That was after a game against Michigan State where he didn't score. Happ picks up his second foul. Reavers and Happ in foul trouble. Badgers in trouble. New York City, Big Ten country this year. Rounds today in New York City at the Garden. And a big call, that last possession on the other end. Michigan State gets Ethan Happ for his second foul. Let's take a look at what was called here. Yeah, Bo Borowski, I don't know, these two guys are banging all day long. Happ couldn't believe the call. Greg Gard was furious.
Yeah, I mean, the foul was right there, if anything. And I think that's the thing. You got to clean it up. If anything, Ethan Happ's got to be careful. You can't get face cut because they're told to call that in the post. They're cleaning it up on the offensive player. They're cleaning it up on the defensive player. So if they're told to call to the letter of the law, that's what they're doing. The problem is this changes the game. It absolutely changes the game, and I think that's the point. Fouls are fouls. But there's not enough fouls in the game for this to happen. It's tough.
Here's Winston now. And look at Ward flying high with a rebound. Going to work inside. And it's going to be Davison who runs that down. This puts a lot of heat on Charlie Thomas and Alex Illikainen now. These are two guys that aren't in the regular rotation. They get occasional playing time depending on matchups. Pritzel, three-pointer, no. Iverson, wow, flying high. This guy can jump out of the gym.
Well, I don't know if it changes more on the offensive end or the defensive end. Ethan Happ does such a good job of just taking space away from offensive players when shots go up. So it allows your teammates to be better rebounders. And offensively, he allows young players to be playmakers because of the space they're given. Like that.
Davison, a little step back. That's his shot. And Jackson's going to be hit for the foul. Boy, they're calling it tight right now, and both coaches are hopping mad. Izzo comes out of his seat that time.
I don't know where that is. Look, you're allowed to go over someone. You just can't go over or through their back. I don't know. Sure. Look, if you're emotionally invested in Wisconsin's success, that's a foul. If you're emotionally invested in Michigan State's success, that's a terrible call. So either way, foul, play on.
It's been called a little tight here in the last few possessions. Something to watch. And here's Jackson coming over for the block. Setting Michigan State program record for blocked shots. He's just a freshman. And on the other end, Langford cashes in. Defense turning into offense for Michigan State.
Well, that's huge for Michigan State because they finally got to stop. They got out and get a transition bucket. This Wisconsin defense plays in phases. First, get back. Second, get set. That's when you've got to attack for Michigan State. Do not allow them to get set. When you do, they're good defense.
Davison with McQuaid on him. Illikainen passed it up. Shot clock down to 7. Davison will pull it. And Langford up high for the rebound. Wisconsin will certainly have to make shots without Happ on the floor. Ward, double team. Michigan State in a bit of a scramble here. Plenty of time. And Davison takes a block. That's a big call, too.
This is where it's tough. I think officials are getting so used to Brad Davison getting his chest into offensive players. He does a great job of it, don't get me wrong. But he sets it by getting his chest into the offensive player and then takes the drop. It's a close call. And part of it, it's so hard. That is such a tough call. It is a tough call to make either way. And I think part of it is, I mean, you remember Zach Showalter from last year. He did a fantastic job of getting his body in front of the driver, in the lane. And Davison does the same exact thing. He does it even better while he's defending the ball, which I think is such a hard thing to call.
Van Vliet checks in for Wisconsin. This is going to be one of those games. It's going to be one of those games. I think you made a great point. If you're connected to either of these programs, you're going to feel like it's going against you all game. But first things first, it's being called pretty tight. Yes. And there is a ton of contact right now. These two teams are getting after it. Probably seeing these officials trying to get it cleaned up as best they can early. That was a turnover.
Michigan State came in with a double bye. At the end of this game, they're going to feel like they played 2.
Langford dumps it in, and a foul on Thomas. Second foul on Charlie Thomas.
How much more active is Nick Ward when Ethan Happ's out of the game? There's just only so much you can do against Happ. He's great defensively. He's great on the offensive end. He wears you out. So when you're not being worn out on one end, if you're Nick Ward, you're able to sprint the floor and work hard to get position on the offensive side. That's the part of the game that people don't understand. There's a lot more to a guy being on the bench than you realize.
Ward, the lefty, a 61% free throw shooter this year. Ethan Happ with 2 fouls. Reavers, 2 fouls. Charlie Thomas stays on the floor with 2 fouls. Andy Van Vliet getting his first window of playing time, and Wisconsin's going to need something out of the 7-footer. 22-20. Wisconsin down a pair with the ball. Van Vliet almost turned it over. And there's a foul.
That's the right call.
McQuaid.
The right call. Matt McQuaid put his hands on Brad Davison. Instead of stepping in front of that screen, not allowing Brad Davison to win over top of that screen, see the hands. It's on the hands. That's a foul. Of course, that's how I played in this league. They didn't call it as much back then.
Now with 20 on the shot clock, guard's going to bring Ford and Reavers on the floor. Reavers in there with the 2 fouls. Thomas will sit.
Davison plays like he's a 6th-year senior.
Talks to the officials. I think he has their respect. He's got those leadership qualities.
Oh, man.
Been impressive.
He's got the team's respect. He is Wisconsin basketball. That's guy. He's a winner. He may not be the most talented guy, but he's going to give you his all.
Oh, man. Dribbled himself free. Knocks down the 3-pointer.
I'll take confidence. I'll take a winner over anything else. I don't care how many stars you've got.
One thing that showed up in the Maryland game, with time getting late, Davison just took a shot to the head. There's Langford now. And Reavers. That was kicked by Van Vliet. That'll be Michigan State ball. One thing about Davison that we saw in the Maryland game, as it got late, Wisconsin had a chance to put the game away with free throws. It was the freshman who went to the ball.
Yes.
Knowing he was going to get fouled. He did get fouled. He hit both free throws to ice the game.
He's not a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. He's a winner. That's the thing. And I think when coaches recruit, you've got to start looking for that first. That's a quality that a lot of kids might be lacking these days.
Winston, catch and shoot. And that's going to be another foul on Jaren Jackson.
Over the back, too.
Coming over the back again.
I want to go back to that point, though. What I'm saying about Brad Davison, in a day where everyone transfers, everyone changes AAU programs, the focus is less on winning. It's more about what I need to get. A guy like Brad Davison, he just wants to win. He's going to compete. He's going to make everybody better. And there are very few guys like that these days. That's a special player.
Davison's going to be one of those guys as we sit here in 2021 saying, is he still at Wisconsin? Because he's getting such a key role as a freshman. Be like one of those Aaron Craft type players from Ohio State. Pass to Reavers. What a great bounce pass. And Reavers cashes it in with a 2-handed jam. And now Davison, another block. And that'll be his second foul.
That's the freshman coming out, because you've got to know, you've got to do what's necessary at this point for you to stay on the floor, stay out of foul trouble. And in that sense, you don't need to take that charge.
Going deep on the bench today, John Crispin. We're going to see some free throws, and we're going to see some guys playing in this game that aren't in the regular rotation. Fouls everywhere. Trouble. Davison, Reavers. Probably won't see Davison the rest of this half unless you're into an offensive set. And again, I tell you, this is a play that's gone Davison's way at times this year, but after the first one, probably a mistake he shouldn't have made.
And let me give you my take. Think of Melo Treble his freshman year. How many times he went to the basket, threw his head back, and baited the officials into giving him a foul. I think that's similar to Brad Davison now. He's been playing so much that the last thing officials want to do is be shown up by a guy trying to bait him into calling that foul. So I think you got to be careful if you're Brad Davison. You've got to be set. You've got to be in position. It has to be an obvious call for those officials.
Well, Wisconsin has the ball. They are up a point here. Pritzel in the corner and gets it to rattle home. Brevin Pretzel, such a big part of their three-point shooting. He's actually brought a lot of rebounding to the party the last few games. His last 7 games, he's been impressive, averaging around 12 points per game. He's given him a third weapon. There's a whistle underneath, away from the ball. And it's going to be on Wisconsin. Lean Ford picks up his second foul. Well, coming up next, it's our State Farm halftime report. Dave Refson and company's got Stephen Barta with him today, Sean Morris, and Andy Katz. And it's all coming up just across the way there. Our State Farm halftime report.
I know Michigan State coaching staff is frustrated because defensively there's been breakdowns. Breakdowns in the sense that you're losing track of who you're covering. You have to be with Brevin Pritzel on the catch, and that's part of the problem. You have to be there on Brad Davison on the catch. You can't allow him to line up the three. Those are the guys that can hurt you the most, especially with Ethan Happ on the bench.
Iverson working on Bridges. It's Reavers. You got to respect Reavers' shot. He's a big guy, but he can stretch it. He's a good shooter. Iverson gets some room. Van Vliet got the ball in his hands. Got to do something. All looks good there. Can't finish. Ford with an offensive rebound. Good pass. Pritzel. Blocked. Denied by Xavier Tillman. In transition, Michigan State in the corner. Bridges, yes sir. Michigan State is lethal on the missed threes or the missed shots, the turnovers, anything that can get them into transition. And a turnover. Van Vliet throws it out of bounds.
The transition opportunities are where they got to do their work. They are hard to, the defense of Wisconsin is hard to go up against when they're set. So when Tum Nairn's on the floor, he will push the tempo. Miles Bridges knows that. He gets to an open spot where he can get a shot-ready in-rhythm three to go. It's a big shot.
Bridges off to a great start. First Big Ten tournament game for Michigan State here today. Bridges has 11 on 3 of 5 shooting. He's hit 2 threes already. And now Bridges throws it away.
But Wisconsin's getting them out of sorts. That's the thing. Defenses can make you uncomfortable in a variety of ways. If you look at Illinois speeds you up. They force you to play at a fast tempo, a fast pace, to the point where you have to make quick decisions. Against Wisconsin, you almost feel this fool's gold comfort. You feel like you're okay. You're not going to turn the basketball over, but those scoring options just aren't there. You're going to have to work for it.
5 turnovers for Michigan State. Wisconsin has 6 points off those turnovers. Pritzel, he's got a little post game too. He can't connect here. And Tillman pulls the board down. Again, Michigan State moving it.
Not sure that's what you want if you're Wisconsin. No reason why you take that shot. Work it a little bit. See if you can get this defense for Michigan State to work and break down. They've also given up offensive rebounding opportunities for Wisconsin.
Minute and a half to go in the first half. Bridges too strong. Pritzel the rebound. Iverson pull it back, and Wisconsin will get into their set. See a lot more of the triangle offense in the Greg Gard era. He brought that back. They had gotten away from it a bit in the last few years with Bo Ryan, based on personnel. And Gard has brought the old swing offense back in play.
Well, you need a system that guys can be confident with. And I think that's what this has done.
Illikainen comes up short. Again, Michigan State gets Wisconsin deep in the clock. And Izzo wants to talk it over here.
I mean, how many times have we said about Wisconsin, their recipe has been win with less. And if we're able to win with less, we start to get more. And what I'm talking about is more talent. They've been able to win with less talent at a high level. I'm talking top 4 finishes in the conference for the last 16 years. They haven't always had Frank Kaminsky, Decker-like talent. They haven't always had those teams. Those teams have looked like the team you see on the floor today. They fit the mold of who this Wisconsin program really is. And I think this team is really close to taking that next jump up. Next season could be a huge jump for Wisconsin.
Well, Wisconsin survives Maryland. Low-scoring affair yesterday to get to this matchup with the top seed in Michigan State. Coming up next, we'll have Michigan and Nebraska. That is game 2 of our 4 today on BTN. Penn State and Ohio State. And then the nightcap with Purdue and Rutgers. How about Rutgers in the run they're making here? 2 days, 2 wins.
It was fun. I mean, all the Rutgers fans came out. It's a couple train stops to Penn Station. You might as well get a ticket and get your butt here. and they've been fun to watch.
The host school, if you will, here. A coming out party of sorts.
Oh, Corey Sanders has been terrific.
Bridges with Ford on him and has it blocked by a lean Ford. Reavers pulls down the board. Good defense by Ford. He gives Wisconsin a little bit of length. He's 6'8", a redshirt freshman. And now the Badgers will talk it over. The use or lose timeout. And Greg Gard will draw one up with 32.4 seconds remaining in this first half.
Well, it's interesting, too. I know Tom Izzo's frustrated because you take that timeout to get a good shot. You take that timeout to get a good look, not a blocked shot. That's the thing about coaches. You don't realize it. Just because something doesn't work out doesn't mean that's what they drew up. Good defenses take away options. Good defenses know how to make you uncomfortable, and young players often forget what they're supposed to do.
Michigan State winning 5 Big Ten tournaments, most all time, and in the Tom Izzo era, winning their 8th Big Ten regular season title, and Izzo's 23rd season. Don't forget State Farm halftime report coming your way. Dave Refson and company. Happ and Davison both with 2 fouls, but the Badgers have been able to hold serve here for the most part with those 2 on the bench. Since Happ's second foul, Michigan State has outscored them 13-8. Only down a point. Reavers trying to go under the rim. Can't get it to go. Shot clock is off. Michigan State with the final possession. Got 4 lead changes in this game. A low-scoring affair. Oh, a long-range shot. Three-pointer is good. Cassius Winston delivers just before the horn sounds.
Man, they got to switch. They got to switch. You would have thought Cassius Winston was going to put the ball on the floor. Reavers gets the switch. Great length. Winston not even able to get a ton of rhythm on that shot. And the good thing is, it got Cassius Winston smiling. Did it get Tom Izzo smiling?
To my call. Let's find out.
All right, Tom, offensively, how many possessions were you happy with the execution?
Not very many. Not very many. You know, I thought we had some good shots that we missed, and then we didn't execute. We didn't set screens. We didn't wait for them. Our wings aren't playing very good, and, you know, if it wasn't for Cassius, we wouldn't be in the game.
Defensively, you got Happ in foul trouble, but when he was in, his left hand was really effective. How do you combat against that?
Good job. He did a good job. You know, it's the way we're playing him right now. We might adjust to that at halftime, but we're not going to give up the threes, so it's part of the game plan. He's going to score a few more, but we're also not going to give up those threes on the kickout.
Thanks, Tom. Right.
Well, Cassius Winston and Miles Bridges each score 11 for Michigan State. The Spartans outscore Wisconsin 16-8 after Happ picked up his second foul. State Farm halftime report coming your way next. Dave Refson and company standing by. We're at the break in game 1. New York City, Big Ten country this year. First time ever the Big Ten tournament has been played here in the big city. Michigan State, the top seed, has a 32-28 lead as we get ready for the second half. Ryan Anderson along with John Crispin. This feels like a bit of a Michigan State story, meaning how is it they are not further ahead than they are? Wisconsin's hanging tough with them right now.
Well, they're allowing Wisconsin to dictate the tempo and the pace of this game. Wisconsin's been able to get back, get set defensively, and I think that's caused all sorts of problems for Michigan State on the offensive end. You look at the defense of Wisconsin, they're dialed in. They're together. They're all eyes on the ball, full awareness of where their man and the ball is. And here, we're going to take a look at it. We'll freeze it right here. Everybody has an eye. Everybody keeps an eye on Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges has been great when he's able to work in space, but the space is not there because the defense converges. And that's what's made this Wisconsin team so good. All eyes on the ball, see-man, see-ball, all simple fundamentals that every coach in the country teaches. But for some reason, Wisconsin buys into it, and they've done it. That's why they've been successful for so many years.
Wisconsin with foul trouble from some of their big-name players, including Happ and Davison. Reavers, a starter, with 2 fouls as well. Able to keep pace. They get the first possession. Jackson comes over with a swat. First time down the floor, Jackson picks up another block. Winston on the other end gets the friendly bounce. Tom Izzo told Mike Hall at the end of the first half, Without Cassius Winston, Michigan State would be in serious trouble. He's now scored 13 points. Hit a three-pointer at the end of the first half. He's been a difference maker from the point guard position. Half goes under the rim. The reverse is good. That's something Wisconsin was missing with Happ on the bench with foul trouble, that paint presence to score.
I just think Michigan State needs to pick up the tempo on the defensive end. You can't allow Wisconsin to be comfortable walking it up the floor and just getting into offensive sets.
Game had a really unusual flow as far as fouls go. First 9 minutes of the first half, only 4 foul calls, as we get one here. And then in the next 8 minutes, there were 11 fouls called. That's when a lot of the Badgers got into foul trouble. Let's check in with Mike Hall. What do you have, Mike?
Well, I talked with Greg just before the second half started. His two main concerns were obviously the fouls and also getting back in transition on defense. But as for the fouls, he said, if you think about it, we're only down 4, and our big guys really only played a handful of minutes. I like where we're at.
Well, I think the fouls actually favor Wisconsin. Wisconsin is able to dictate the pace, first by getting back and setting up their defense, second by slowing it down with these fouls. And sometimes Michigan State fouling on their own, it actually takes tempo. It takes pace out of the game. And that's where whistles hurt a team that need to get into the rhythm and flow of the game. There's no flow to this game.
That's a good point. Well, Jaren Jackson just picked up his 3rd foul on the offensive foul on the other end. Brad Davison, who wears that sling on the left shoulder to protect the shoulder that pops in and out often, as Happ scores again in the paint. Davison looked like he was a little touched up there on that last possession. We'll keep an eye on him.
Two things I don't understand. I don't understand how you allow Ethan Happ to get the ball too easily in position to score, and then I don't understand how you allow him just to dribble Charles Barkley and dominate down in the post. He's too good.
He's made both field goals in the second half, as has Winston. Little mid-range jumper this time from Cassius Winston. He's averaging 12.5 points per game through the regular season. He scored 20 against Wisconsin, had 6 rebounds and 5 assists against the Badgers on the road at the Kohl Center last Sunday. Britzel spins his way in, has it denied. Gavin Schilling with a block.
Well, the pump fake is what got the block. He was wide open. He just didn't think it was going to be that easy. And this is where Michigan State's falling into it. They're getting set. Now, I know Cassius Winston likes this mismatch. But you allow the Wisconsin defense to get set. You've got to play with better pace. You have to take transition and have that flow right into secondary. Secondary turns into offensive continuity. The second you pull it back out and set up your offense, call a set, you're allowing Wisconsin to do exactly what they want to do and do what they do best on the defensive end.
Reavers will head to the bench. Aline Ford is in. 36-32, Michigan State with the lead and the ball. Quarterfinal matchup here. Our 3rd day of the Big Ten tournament. One of our 10 games on BTN this year. We've got a quadruple header today. Schilling misses the layup. Goins gets the offensive board. And a 3rd chance this trip down the floor for Michigan State. Bridges got it.
Couldn't play better defense. Khalil Iverson was right on him, took a lot of contact. It's a physical move and contested to the level of the ball. Sometimes the offense wins.
Aline Ford with a 3. Yes, sir.
That's a game changer. If you can get depth in terms of more guys around the perimeter that can knock down the shot. Aline Ford has shown he can do it at times, but has been inconsistent. Wisconsin, they can rely on 2 things, layups and threes, and they can win a lot of basketball games.
Ford overall for the year, 41%, but you're right, up and down shooting, confidence. What do we got here? That's going to be a travel.
I'll tell you, that's a tough one, and I wonder, because Ethan Happ has 2 fouls, does that impact whether that's a foul or not? That's a trip.
That's what Tom Izzo is asking. Trip. Because that was about to be one of those game-changing moments. This could have easily gone to Happ.
Might not even be a trip. That's tough.
Travel is the call. Happ with 2 fouls.
I wonder if he has 1, if that's a foul on Happ.
Davison. Better to his right, has it poked away. Langford with the quick hands. Winston will pull a 3. And Goins runs another rebound down. That's coming our way. And Wisconsin basketball.
I like that possession, though, for Michigan State, because they got out, got something in transition, and really had an opportunity at a second chance point. crashing the offensive glass. Why? Because Wisconsin wasn't set.
Tom Izzo still working the official.
I think a good substitution, by Greg Gard. Greg Gard taking Ethan Happ out here. He's going to steal some time here before the under-16 timeout. He needs to get Ethan Happ rest because with those fouls, and you get tired, that's when you pick up those fouls chasing plays. Great substitution by Greg Gard.
Reavers back on the floor. Right with Pritzel, and now Ford for three, and the lean Ford has hit 2 threes in this second half. Tom Izzo made it a case with his team. We have got to protect the three-point line against Wisconsin. That's how the Badgers can stay in this game against the top seed. And a hot pass is going to be a turnover, and the Badgers will take over as we go to a timeout.
Look, Liam Ford has gotten it going. We talked about his inconsistencies at time, but when he's good, he's good. And this Wisconsin team has weapons.
Love your
blah. In March, only 3 words matter: survive and advance.
Big Ten men's basketball tournament from Madison Square Garden in New York City. Wisconsin and Michigan State get us started today. We'll have Michigan and Nebraska next, and then the evening session with Penn State and Ohio State, and then Rutgers and Purdue. Gus Johnson, Bill Raftery, Rick Pizzo will have the call for the evening session. Brian Anderson with John Crispin, Mike Hall with you. Very entertaining game, been a low-scoring game and a lot of fouls. But these two teams grinded it out. Michigan State, their first game in the Big Ten tournament. Wisconsin won yesterday. Reavers off the window. The freshman from Minnesota. Yeah, his parents love it. He's got his family here. That's an 8-0 run for Wisconsin.
We saw that in the first half. Wisconsin able to string together these runs that gives them confidence and allows them, again, to play the game that they want to play. It should be the other way around.
Winston leaving it up for Schilling, and an offensive foul. Davison, who wanted 2 charges in the first half, finally gets his wish here in the second half. He's sitting on 2 fouls as well.
It's interesting on the pass. I mean, it didn't seem as if he had position, but he gets over and gets set. I mean, you have to be aware of where Brad Davison is at all times. Whether he's coming you or he's off the ball, he's looking to pick up that charge. I think that's a gutsy play by Brad Davison. With those 2 fouls, the way he got them, sliding over as a secondary defender on a pass. Big.
That's a 4 turnover for Michigan State this half. Reavers going to work again. And Reavers turn around air ball. Iverson there to clean it up.
See, BA, this Michigan State team's playing stiff. They're playing tight. And you always wondered at what point the pressure would settle in. And the pressure of expectations, and they need to just start kicking off the training wheels and playing.
Winston misses. McQuaid runs it down. Winston passes one up. We'll give it right back. Ball's moving well here. Langford. And another rebound. Xavier Tillman pulling down the board, giving Michigan State a 3rd chance. Spartans better on the offensive glass this half. And Davison comes away with it. Badgers on the move.
Matt McQuaid trying to take one out of Davison's playbook.
He was. Give a taste of his own medicine. Officials not buying it. Officials do their scouting work as well, by the way. They officiate so many games. They know the players that are in the rotations, what they try to do. As Reavers cannot hit the 3.
Officials watch their own games back with a report card, so they understand what they're trying to do. Great move. Wow. And finished by Joshua Langford. Those are the plays they've got to get. You've got to push tempo, but you got to push tempo on both ends. You can't just put it on the offense, push it on the offensive end, and then sit back defensively. I think you got to push tempo, get up, pressure. Force Wisconsin to play at your tempo, not allow them to dictate the play.
Snaps that 8-0 run by the Badgers. Wisconsin the 9 seed. Actually a 10-0 run. And now Iverson, and an offensive foul. This time McQuaid does get the call as Iverson was boring his way in. And Michigan State will take over.
And that's what it was. He didn't really have much room to work. He just lowers the shoulder and goes into him. And you need something. You need something to get you going because this Michigan State team just isn't themselves.
Well,
But give Wisconsin credit.
We saw Tom Izzo that last time out. He was ripping into his team. Bridges delivers another three. Miles Bridges with his third three-point make. Michigan State back on top. Bridges now with 16 points. His first points in the second half, and a foul on the floor on Michigan State. It's last time out. You talk about Michigan State playing a little tight. Well, they are feeling the wrath of their head coach.
Well, it's hard. There's a fine line, right? There are times where you really need to pull back and empower your players, give them confidence, and then there are other times where you need to get them to buy into the severity of the situation. The situation is this is a Wisconsin team that's not going to lay down.
Michigan State clears it away. That's Bridges with the rebound. McQuaid for three. And it's loose. It is off of Wisconsin. To say Iverson touched it last. And it'll be Michigan State ball. Check in with Mike Hall.
Tom Izzo being heated in that last huddle. What was going on was he was upset of those 2 threes that were happening. If you remember in the halftime interview I did with him, he said, we're okay with hat beating us. We don't want to give up those threes. So that's why he was so furious with them.
That's very similar to what you've seen from Purdue. You know, people are allowing Isaac Haas to beat you, but they don't want to give up those threes. That's ultimately what makes this Wisconsin team so dangerous, where they knock down shots from the three. That balance makes them good.
Bridges again. Shakes Davison and hits the jumper. Dropped him. A little crossover. Davison got his feet caught up. And Miles Bridges is starting to turn up the heat. 18 points.
Good timeout.
And a quick 5. 7-0 run for Michigan State. Answering a big Wisconsin run. And it is the Spartans, the top seed. 16-2 in conference play this year with a 3-point lead at the Big Ten.
All parts of basketball. And when they say the Mecca, I think it is the Mecca. And when you sit there, as we've played here quite a few times, and before that tip, you're looking around and you think, who's played in this place? Right. It's pretty exciting.
Well, as difficult as the regular season was with the jam schedule and playing the 2 games in December, I think you finally get to the reward here, the Big Ten tournament for the first time at Madison Square Garden. And both of these programs are very familiar with this venue, as Tom Izzo stated. Wisconsin played here last year in the NCAA tournament. Happ springs free out of the timeout. Iverson hit him, and Happ scores it to snap a 7-0 Michigan State run.
Of the 5 guys on the floor, there's one that you should never lose sight of, and that's Ethan Happ. But setting good screens is what gives him that opportunity.
Ward backing Happ down, and Ward misses twice, gets another one, and he hits this time.
I think he missed the first shot on purpose. He didn't really have a look at it. He just threw it up off the glass, knowing that he was going to get it. He just took Ethan Happ out of the play with that physicality.
Michigan State is starting to rack up the offensive rebounds now. In the second half, they have 8 offensive rebounds. They only had 3 in the first half. That was a point of emphasis for Greg Gard and the Badgers for this matchup.
I'm telling you, I think he missed this first one on purpose. He just threw it up off the glass because he knew he took Ethan Happ out of the play. The physicality is going to go the way of Nick Ward.
First team all Big Ten this year. Ethan Happ back on there for a second consecutive year. Keita Bates-Diop unanimous, as was Miles Bridges. Keita Bates-Diop of Ohio State, the player of the year in the Big Ten. And our Gatorade game leaders, Miles Bridges has scored 7 of the last 9 for Michigan State. He has 18, and Ethan Happ playing with those 2 fouls. Happ with 15. Wisconsin with the basketball coming out of the timeout, and Happ in a scramble finds Khalil Iverson.
2 guys commit to the ball on Ethan Happ, 15, 20 feet from the basket. He's also a great passer.
1-point game here. Bridges is on fire right now. He hits again. That's 9 of the last 11 that Bridges has scored for Sparty.
It's hard to defend him when he's making jump shots, because you say you got to trail hard and make him a driver. Well, you don't really want him driving either. Finishes too well at the rim. If anything, I'd make him a passer.
4-point game at the half. Wisconsin went on a 10-0 run, took a 4-point lead, and then Michigan State answered. Happ can't get that hook to go. Cassius Winston out in front of the pack, gives it up for Bridges. I would too. Looking inside. Tillman drops Pritzel, misses, and Ford clears it away.
It's an interesting play because without Brevin Pritzel taking that drop, Tillman's able to go into the basket. He's not able to go into the basket, and Ethan Happ picks up a block.
6 block shots for Michigan State. They've doubled up Wisconsin in that category. It's Happ working on Tillman.
Tom Izzo wanted a 3-second call. They have a point.
Davison to Iverson, nothing there. Clock ticks. Ford, desperation, and he hits his third three. A lean Ford as the shot clock was expiring. Lean Ford has not made 3 3-pointers in a game since February 4th in Maryland. Nice spin by Tillman. That was crafty.
You look at the Michigan State bench, they're excited, they're cheering, excuse me, but they all kind of have that mouth open surprise face. It was a terrific move.
Here's Happ. Goes under the rim. The reverse. That's his go-to. He uses that goal as a defender.
Excuse me, can't fall for the dribble handoff. He fakes the dribble handoff and comes back to the basket. It's something that I know these coaches have said, do not fall for that. Scouting has picked it apart. Easier said than done on the floor.
All tied at 51. Back and forth they go with each passing minute that Wisconsin hangs in this game against the top seed. It puts a little heat on them. That was a tough one-footer by Bridges. And a foul on the floor. It's another offensive rebound. That's the 9th offensive rebound of this second half for Michigan State. They're killing Wisconsin on the glass on this side.
And what good defenders do is they force you to take a tough shot. And Miles Bridges going up against Brad Davison. Davison's not going to stop him. You just have to force him to take the toughest shot possible. In that case, it was a one-legged runner going to the right.
Michigan State had 3 offensive boards in the first half. Another opportunity. Twice they've had 3 chances at a score on a possession. Approaching the 8-minute mark. Second half, quarterfinal matchup. Michigan State, the top seed, and the 9 seed Wisconsin. Beating Maryland yesterday to get here. McQuaid. And it's Reavers with a rebound, and Davison hits the deck.
It's no foul. It's a great box out. I don't know who. I mean, it's like both teams wanted a foul.
Davison, he's just got that little extra bit in him trying to draw fouls. He will be the, if not already, one of the most hated opposing players in the Big Ten.
But if you're playing with him, you love him.
Oh, man, no doubt. No doubt. That's just the way he wants it. He'll pull a 3 here. Too strong. Iverson can't get it. It's McQuaid.
Rebound, Matt McQuaid.
Winston, wide open. Yes.
But that's the shot. That's what we've been talking about all game, is that transition opportunity. You have to get out and run, and it doesn't have to be on a steal. You get a rebound, you have to apply pressure because that defense is looking to get back, then get set. Again, that time where they're trying to get set, that's the time to attack.
Well, give credit to Nick Ward, too. He cleared some space for his point guard. Ford turns it over. Michigan State with the lead and the ball. Jaren Jackson will be checking back in. He's been out with 3 fouls. And they're going to call a foul on Reavers. He and Ward, a couple of collisions underneath. And the 3rd foul on Reavers. Timeout on the floor. 6:44 remaining in regulation.
If Michigan State wants to pull away, it's got to be done in transition. The Wisconsin defense has been too good at the half court.
From Wisconsin. Michigan State's high intensity. Izzo's yelling, the players are yelling, they're clapping, it's very loud. Wisconsin's very calm, business-like. In fact, I talked to one of the assistants, I was like, so what's the main message? She says, I don't know, do what we do. We just play our ball, and that's what we're doing, trying to keep it the same way.
I think that's a message for both teams. Thanks, Mike. Iverson pulls down the rebound. Michigan State unable to convert after the timeout. And John, on the floor, Jaren Jackson, he has been on the bench for 12 minutes of this second half. Picked up his 3rd foul early in this second half. We'll see if he has any rust on him. Pritzel gets himself open, and it's blocked. Right to Davison. Three-pointer not there.
I want to go back to what Mike was talking about. What he just did was describe the two programs in a nutshell. Wisconsin, business-like, systematic. Michigan State, intense. Run through a wall for Tom Izzo. You just described the programs as a whole. And in many ways, you described the institutions they play for. Wisconsin, they've done that for years. They epitomize what the Wisconsin Badgers sports program is all about.
Here's Jackson, his first touch in a while, and he's fouled and one. Jaron Jackson sitting what must have felt like an eternity on the bench with his third foul. Gets a touch right away. He scored the first basket for Michigan State today, and now he'll go to the line and a chance at three.
Yeah, and you need to get him going. You want Jaron Jackson not only for this game, and I know it's a tournament setting, you want to win, obviously, but you need Jaron Jackson to be confident in the rhythm, in the flow of games, and play meaningful minutes for this team.
Jaron Jackson at Madison Square Garden feels like a perfect fit. His dad, who was a terrific self-made NBA player. I covered him with the San Antonio Spurs. They won a championship right here on this floor, beating the New York Knicks in 5 games in 1999. And Jackson, at 19 years of age, is back. That's a turnover. Michigan State ball. Wisconsin gives it away.
And Jackson defensively is the kind of guy that he may not be as physical as Nick Moore down low, but he's got the length, so he can wall up. He doesn't have to commit. Obviously, great hands as well.
Jaron Jr. was born 3 months after his father and the San Antonio Spurs won their NBA title here at Madison Square Garden.
It doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
Must be a great connection for him. Approaching the 5-minute mark. And McQuaid goes to the hole. A little floater is good. Oh, that was beautiful by McQuaid.
I don't know if that was fully intended. He just went up to get something at the rim. Somehow floats that thing high in the air, and it went straight in.
Michigan State by 7. Starting to impose their will. Oh, my goodness. Look at Ethan Happ.
Holy smokes.
Deep into the tool shed.
Look, he's great when he gets positioned, but he's so crafty. He almost plays like he's a 6'3" post player where he's able to finish almost under you, sometimes over and through you.
Right-handed scoops, left-handed scoops. The little flicks under the basket. The reverses. Haps on Winston, trying to shake him. Gives it to Jackson. And Ford knocks it out of his hand. That'll be Michigan State ball. 7 on the shot clock.
Ford got a lot of arm on that, but I think you got to recognize Jaron Jackson early. You got to see Jaron Jackson. He's being covered by Brad Davison. And McQuaid just gets that little floater to go.
Almost a turnover. Shot clock ticks down to 2. Jackson short. Pretzel the rebound. And a foul. Bridges fouls Pretzel.
And this is going to be a grind. I'm telling you, the last 4 minutes of this game.
Well, it's a very similar game as what we saw last Sunday. Michigan State's last game, they played at Wisconsin.
And that's part of the problem, B.A. Excuse me, I'm going to jump in on you. That's part of the problem because Wisconsin is dictating the tempo and pace. They've done it since the start of this game.
Aleem Ford, he's hit 3, misses on this chance. And Davison able to take it away from Langford. Never gave up on it. Davison.
You got to pick up the ball. Can't dribble as Davison's going to take it.
Here's Happ now. Happ. Again, the reverse. No, gets his own. Happ goes up. He's fouled. And it goes. A chance at 3 for Ethan Happ. Takes us to a timeout. Free throw coming for Wisconsin. They're down 3.
And Tom Izzo is upset with Josh Langford because he could have just picked up the basketball. Instead, he tries to dribble it. And Brad Davison was out of bounds. He was clearly out of bounds when he touched that ball. I didn't see it at the time. But Ethan Happ keeping things alive. And if he's around the rim, he's going to find a way to finish.
Tradition, pride, honor, banners, legacy. Yeah, I get it. But you want to know what we really play for this week? This shiny baby right here.
Big Ten tournament in New York City, and the Badgers will have a free throw coming for Ethan Happ, trying to cap off a three-point play and get within 2 of the top-seeded Michigan State Spartans. And, John, we need to go back to this last play. The Badgers got a break here.
Look, they got a huge break. Brad Davison had 2 feet out of bounds. You're going to see it's going to be the right foot first. We freeze it right there. Right foot was out. He's touching it. You got 2 feet clearly out of bounds. They got away with one. That kept the play alive. Wow.
So Ethan Happ was able to get an offensive board and score the layup. Caps off a 3-point trip down the floor. By the way, the first free throw attempt for Wisconsin since the 15:31 mark. That was also Happ.
Well, Tom Izzo was upset with Joshua Langford. When he watches it back, he may make sense of what happened.
Winston misses on the 3. Offensive board. Bridges, no. And Happ loses it out of bounds. That'll be Michigan State ball.
Well, Michigan State's been active on the offensive glass. I think partially out of desperation. I mean, that's where they're doing most of their work. I still think they've got to loosen up. You've got to loosen up and just be the better team. It's 11 offensive rebounds in the second half. They've been dominant. Now, of course, they've missed enough shots to get them.
Here's Winston now. He kicks it to the corner. Bridges, the lefty, fires. Too strong, and another offensive board. Jackson got it.
Wow. Man.
On the 12th offensive rebound of the half, Michigan State is back up 4.
Well, they're playing hard. That's not the issue. The issue is that Wisconsin's doing what they want to do in terms of the type of plays that take pace, the type of game they want to play.
Under 3 to go. Dumps it off, does Happ. Iverson is there. He's fouled. And another and one.
Khalil Iverson's the guy. He's not spacing out. Ethan Happ rolls to the basket. He's not going to space out. He's going to cut. He's going to cut to get himself an open opportunity. The type of shot he wants to make, that's something at the rim.
That's the 4th foul on Jaren Jackson. And Iverson can't make the free throw, but gets his own. He's fouled. Langford called for the foul. And the Badgers have a chance to make this a 4 or 5-point trip down the floor. That look tells it all.
It's funny, you watch that offensive rebound, though. It's a foul shot, and you got guys just got to stand in and watch it. It's a light pinch. There needs to be a sense of urgency to close out basketball games. I said before, I think this Michigan State team is playing tight.
1-1. Badgers in the bonus. And he misses again.
I mean, even Langford just out too far. You've got to get inside the paint. Khalil Iverson was close to getting that offensive rebound.
Missed opportunity for Wisconsin. 2-point game. Michigan State with the ball and the lead. 2.5 to go in regulation. Got another thriller set up here at the Big Ten tournament. We've had some great games to start this Big Ten tournament.
Well, I think it says a lot about the league in terms of the competitiveness, top to bottom, bottom to top.
Shot clock down to 2. Desperation heave. It does hit the rim, and Langford pulls down the board. Davison pokes it free and comes away with it. And this guy just does not quit. Tough as nails, Brad Davison.
You've got to be strong with the basketball because it's going to be a physical finish. I think we've seen that so far, the type of game it is. 60-58. Every point, every possession matters.
Wisconsin knocking at the door now. Under 2 minutes to go in regulation. Davison passes it up. Here's Happ on the take. And that's going to be a foul. Are they going to get? They are. Jackson picks up number 5. And he is out.
What he's trying to say is that Ethan Happ, the vet move, grabbed his left arm. The problem is the hands for Jaren Jackson came into Ethan Happ. He's making his argument, pleading his case. He's going to say Ethan Happ grabs his left arm, and he does. What a vet move.
Wow.
That is a veteran move from Ethan Happ. He completely locked up the left arm of the young freshman. He was pleading his case, and he had a point. Wow.
Somewhere in James Harden's beard, there's a big smile.
Oh, there is.
That's his move.
He locked that thing up, and when they watch back, first off, you can say what you want about Jaren Jackson, but Ethan Happ, that's a great play. Understanding the situation. 4 fouls on the young freshman. You want to get him out.
Missed opportunity, though. Another missed free throw in the 1-and-1. Iverson and Happ both missing the front ends. Jackson is out. Davison checking Winston. Can't get free. McQuaid will pull a 3. And he hits it. Rattles it home. 5-point lead. That's a major swing. Opportunity for Wisconsin to tie. They cannot make a free throw. Michigan State answers on the other end. Davison for three. The answer, no. Bridges with a board.
And that's not a good one. That's where Wisconsin's got to trust getting the ball back to Ethan Happ and at least giving him a chance to make a play. Because right now, Michigan State, you feel the energy start to go their way.
Madison Square Garden is loud. And a foul on McQuaid. 85% free throw shooter. This three-pointer by Matt McQuaid might be the one that sends Michigan State to the semifinals.
Well, first off, great sit-down for Cassius Winston. Sit down, be patient, don't just feel like you need to get rid of it quickly. Defense converge. Matt McQuaid got himself ready. And are we surprised Wisconsin's not here? They're not in the bonus yet? Wisconsin does such a great job not fouling.
Almost hurts him in a spot like this.
You're right.
Davison fouls Winston, who is an 88% free throw shooter. So that's the fourth on Davison. And now Wisconsin finally using up the 2 to give. Side out once again. Good free throw shooters on the floor for Michigan State.
It's interesting. I mean, you're going to run this thing down.
Big shot. Winston. No. And it's loose. Wisconsin ball. McQuaid almost got a hand on that rebound. That would have sealed it.
Clearly, you don't want to foul Cassius Winston, 88% free throw shooter, but I thought that was interesting. You let some more time run off. You also gave an opportunity with Ethan Happ away from the basket for Michigan State to get that offensive rebound. They got the switch, didn't want Brad Davison to pick up his fifth. But Ethan Happ away from the basket gives you an offensive rebound and opportunity, and that's 12 already, 12 offensive rebounds for Michigan State in this second half.
Izzo has replaced Tum Tum Nairn.
They're going to take a look at this, I assume.
And Nairn there to check Pritzl. They do want to take a look, see who touched it last. Called on the floor, Wisconsin basketball off of McQuaid. So this one under review. This will be a huge call here. Davison and McQuaid.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to see it from there. Let's see. Brad Davison does a good job getting his body into him. I would. Yeah. It's hard to say. I think it's going to be hard to overturn it. It looks like it's definitely off of Matt McQuaid. I shouldn't say definitely. It's so hard. Who's got the tape on?
Who's got the white wristband there?
Look at.
Yeah, that's McQuaid. You're right.
McQuaid. I'd say that's Wisconsin ball. They got it right. How many times we watch this and we realize they get these close calls right? I still think that last possession was big. Tough shot for Davison. And Ethan Happ didn't touch the basketball.
Well, and maybe more importantly, if Wisconsin does go score here, as they're going to keep the call as was called on the floor. If Wisconsin does score, they stay in a one-possession game. They've used up their 2 fouls that they had to give, so now they're in a position to put Michigan State on the free throw line. They took the gamble, and now they have a chance.
And you got to look at who you've got on the floor for Michigan State. You know, look for a guy like Xavier Tillman to get a rebound or to miss shot and immediately get fouled.
5 seconds separating game clock and shot clock. Davison gets free. Davison all the way in, scores the 2. Makes it a one-possession game.
It was too easy. That was way too easy.
Shot clock is off. Bridges, good free throw shooter, and Pritzl finally fouls him.
Well, Davison couldn't foul. Everybody's yelling foul, foul, foul. Davison's got 4. He still wants to stay on the floor for this last 26.8. I still feel like that layup, that's too easy to give. You're not up 8 points. That was an easy give for Brad Davison.
Michigan State has their best free throw shooter at the line. Game reset sponsored by SoFi, personal finance to fit your goals. Plenty of timeouts left. And Bridges, 90% free throw shooter to make it a 2-possession game again. Oh, he misses the 1-and-1. Wisconsin ball. A chance for the Badgers.
I wouldn't wait too long. I like the good timeout. You're going to get something set, but you're going to get something set that allows you to get a shot up relatively quickly. You don't want to just wait and just settle for a late 3 hoping to play for overtime. You want to extend this basketball game, particularly if you get a miss.
That was the first missed free throw for Michigan State. They had made their first 10, and when you need one most, A miss by Bridges gives Wisconsin a chance down 3. 19.2 seconds remaining.
You see how important it is not fouling throughout the course of the second half and having them be a 1-and-1 and not a double bonus. I mean, how many times during the course of the game we see early you're in a double bonus with 8 minutes left in the game. Wisconsin, they had to foul to get them to the line.
We've had a great run of games here to start this Big Ten tournament. And more coming up. 3 more after this one, all here on BTN. Michigan and Nebraska will be our second matchup in the quarterfinal round. Nebraska earned the 4 seed. They jumped Michigan to get that 4 seed and get the double bye. Michigan surviving yesterday.
That's going to be an interesting one because Nebraska matches up really well with Michigan. I think Michigan's a team that a lot of people nationally are talking about as a legitimate Elite 8, possible Final 4 contender. But Nebraska's dangerous. The way they play with a small lineup and they switch everything around the perimeter. It's been tough for Michigan. They beat them by 20 earlier this season.
Michigan beat Iowa yesterday in overtime. Duluth Trading hardest working player. We'll give that to Miles Bridges, who has scored 20, is the top scorer for Michigan State. Winston has 17. Bridges with 20 points, 9 rebounds. Has a couple of assists as well, but he just missed a huge free throw opportunity.
You got to watch Davison here. Davison does such a good job pump faking, get it into the body of the defenders, and they're going to switch these screens.
Ford can shoot to 3. Pritzel as well. Number 2, number 1 in red. Davison with the game clock at 6. Hounded by Nairn. Here's Happ now. Clock ticks. Davison launches one up, and it's going to run out on Wisconsin. Michigan State, the top seed, advances to the semifinal round.
Tum Nairn did the job. They switched everything around the perimeter. No one was able to get an easy look. Obviously looking for an early 3, but Tum Nairn, give him all the credit in the world. First off, for being patient, taking the role that he's had to take in some ways a backseat to the young Cassius Winston, but defensively did the job that won the game. This is what I'm talking about. We knew it was going to come. They switched, and you got Davison back on Tum. Good job staying with him, forcing the most difficult shot possible, did not foul. One heck of a game. Michigan State, I told you earlier on in this game, they may have gotten the double bye. This may have been their first game, but they're going to walk away from this game feeling like they played 2.
Tum Nairn played 7 minutes, and the biggest minute was the last defensively. It's the end of the line for Wisconsin, and their run of 19 consecutive NCAA tournament wins is going to come to an end here. It's been a great run for the Badgers. They're hoping to reload and be another competitive force next year as they've been. They've had 17 straight years finishing 4th or higher until this season. Michigan State advances. They'll match up against the winner of Nebraska and Michigan, which is our next game. Ethan Happ will exit. A lot of questions about his future as well. Will he continue as a Badger? Wisconsin is out. Michigan State continues. Let's check in with Mike.
All right, thanks. I got Tom Izzo here. Tom, let's talk about Tum's defense on that last play.
Well, my assistants did a good job because we put in a small lineup. We said we're switching everybody. I think it caught him by surprise, and we switched on off of Happ, and that Tum was unbelievable. But, you know, we did some good things. We did some bad things, and it was a win. You got to win games like this. We played a lot of them, so maybe we're used to it.
You know, this was a game where, in the end, some of the guys who aren't the big stars made big plays. What about Matt McQuaid's 3 there in that final minute and a half?
Well, Matt McQuaid did a good job. Plus, he played real good defense. He made a couple great plays there. Finally, Miles came to life in the second half. Cassius carried in the first half. But we got a lot of work to do. You can tell we're just not really right there yet. And yet I'm proud of him for finding a way to win.
Give me the thing you're happiest about with the performance.
That we won.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Mike.
Guys.
Well, what a run of games we've had. Yesterday, John, all 4 games decided by single digits. Here today, Michigan State by 3 over Brad Davis.